Testing, testing. Alright, continuing section 5 of the American Locomotive Passenger 3-unit train. High temperature alarm switch at 185 degrees will operate with light and hot engine light sound. Alarm should cooling water temperature become excessive. Cooling system can be filled either through the filler cap located in the roof over the expansion tank through the filler over the nozzle for the right side over the engine of the unit over the rear truck. The water level in the cooling system is indicated with the glass water gauge located in the expansion tank over the right aisle. Water must show in the gauge glass at all times. The cab heaters of A unit are supplied with hot water for the engine cooling system and are provided with a separate inlet-outlet valve for each of the heater located in the nose unit. If the locomotive is to be left standing with diesel engine shut down, whether their drainage is freezing, the steam should be supplied with the system cooling water system when drained. For supplying steam to cooling system, the connection from the steam train line is provided with the steam emission valve, the check valve choked located at the small pipe at the water pump suction line. The steam can be supplied with the connection from the outside and steam line to a steam train line connection at either end of the unit, or by operating steam generator at another unit. To drain engine cooling system unit, open the drain valve located with the right aisle with the base for the oil cooler. Open both inlet and outlet valve for each for the cab heater. Open the vent valve at the top of each for the cab heater. Diesel engine lubrication oil system. Lubricating oil system of the diesel engine on several units of the locomotive is similar to each other. Lubricating oil system is carried in the crankcase for the engine. The bayonet type of the oil leverage gauge located on the right side of the diesel engine shows the level of lubricating oil with the crankcase. The oil level should be maintained between high and low level marks on the gauge when the engine is idling. The crankcase exhauster should be shut down while the gauging the oil. Oil may be added to the system if necessary. The oil filler opening located adjacent to the bayonet gauge. Lubricating oil pump located at the front end of the engine drawer. The oil from the crankcase through the suction line pumps it through the lubricating oil filter, oil cooler, then the engine lubricating oil header, which distribute the individual points with requiring lubrication. Oil cooler are located with the front end of the diesel, provided the transfer to the heat lubricating oil with the cooling water. Therefore, the definite relationship between lubricating oil temperature and cooling water temperature. The oil pressure of the main bearing header is maintained at the maximum 65-pound regulating valve located at the pump discharge. The rocker arm headers are supplied with a 17-pound reducing valve. The turbo supercharger header is supplied through a filter separated with a 17-pound reducing valve. Two dial type of gauge located with the engine control panel indicate lubricating oil pressure. One gauge should be lubricate oil pressure at the end of the main bearing header shows the 50 to 65 pound pressure full engine speed shows at least 20 pounds the idling speed. The other gauge, the duplex gauge, one hand black showing the rocker arm and the oil pressure, the other hand red showing turbocharger, turbo supercharger oil pressure. Both hands and his gauge should also show the 15 to 17 pounds of pressure. Alright, two lubricating oil pressure switches are connected with the end of the main bearing header. If any of the reason lubricating oil drops to 20 pounds, the first switch will operate, and if the throttle lever is above the fourth notch, the diesel engine speed will reduce to idle. Lubricating oil pressure drops 7 pounds, and the second switch will shut down the engine. Either in case the alarm will sound, low lubricating oil pressure light will light. Diesel engine fueling oil system. Fuel oil system and diesel engines on several units of the locomotive are similar to each other. A fuel supply tank is mounted under each unit of the locomotive may be filled with either side. The slight glass is provided on each side of the unit, indicates the upper level of the tank. The dial type fuel gauge is located on the right side of the wall adjacent to the engine control panel. Any airflow value between the gauge must be opened to get a reading, but shall be closed after the reading has been taken. The gauge is calibrated in inches. An electrically driven fuel transfer pump located on the left side of the diesel engine near the front end of the draw of the fuel from the fuel supply tank for the suction line with the duplex suction filter and delivers it through the single felt desk type discharge filter to a fuel oil header passing around the engine. The header connects to each of the fueling injection. Fuel oil pressure is connected with two pressure relief valves, one located with the discharge line with the fuel transfer pump set approximately 75 pounds, one located at the return end. The fuel oil header set at 35 to 45 pounds. Fuel pressure relief with either valves will return the oil in the supply tank. A dial type gauge located in the engine control panel indicates the fuel oil pressure at the return end of the header shows the 35 to 45 pounds. An individual fuel and pump injection pump connected to the high pressure piping. The individual injector is provided with each of the cylinder of the diesel engine. The cam of the camshaft operates the fuel injection pump at the proper time to deliver fuel for the injector. The stroke of the fuel injection pump is constant at all times. The amount of the fuel injected with each of the stroke is controlled by engine governor, which varies the effective stroke of the fuel injection pump. The emergency fuel cutoff valve is located under the unit. The suction line with the fuel supply tank must be closed at pulling at any one of the several pulls of the unit located as full. 2 pear-shaped and skirt on each side near the fuel sight glass. 2 pear-shaped inside engine room on sidewall near shutter operating mechanism. 1 pull ring on side of the door frame and cab of the A units behind the engine position. Alright, your electrical power system, main generator. Each unit contains a single diesel engine, 2,000 horsepower main generator connected with the diesel engine by coupling of the generating center. Self-ventilated feeds power with the 4 traction motor units. Auxiliary generator. Auxiliary generator, blow generator, exciter gears driven from the shaft extension for the main generator. Gears lubricated separate oil supply using diesel engine lubricating oil. The oil capacities in 5 pints may be gauged within the Bennett type gauge. The auxiliary generator rating at 74 volts is used to charge the storage battery of the unit with the supply with low voltage power. The blow generator operating at 150 to 230 volts, furnishing power to the 2 motor-driven traction motor blowers. The exciter is the Amplidine generator type and provides excitation to the main generator field winding. Alright, the control stand. The control stand of the engine position A unit with the throttle lever, the reverse lever, the transition lever. Throttle lever operates electrically with a hydraulic governor control of the engine. The reverse lever operates with reverse but electro-pneumatic control. The transition lever operates with electrically to limit the automatic transition of motor connection. The automatic transition will not progress beyond the setting of the transition lever. The automatic transition motor circuit is used to secure the motor power maximum power as the train speeds increase. Fuel engine power will not be available if the train speed exceeds the speed as the automatic transition would normally take place. If the transition lever has not been advanced beyond the setting, the transition takes place automatically with both increasing and decreasing speeds at the following points. Position 1 and 2, 17 miles an hour. 2 and 3, 28.1 miles an hour. 3 and 4, position 4.90. In the road operating transition lever, normally the number 4 position. The terminal switching the transition lever should be in the number 1 position, as the reverse lever can be operated unless transition lever is in the number 1 or in the off position. Reserves. Reverser is any air-operated rotary drum which shall be located with the contractor compartment with the reverse valve to operate. The operating with the reverse lever to the control stand, pressing the magnet valve button to the reverser. Manually operating handle with the provided with the reverser frame. The handle may be inserted within the hole provided with the casting of the top opening shaft in order to move it into position corresponding with the movement of the train. When the locomotive is towed, the reverse drum shall be locked with the neutral. The drum shall be turned to its neutral position. The locking pin inserted with the hole provided with the top of the reverser. The traction motor. One traction motor drive the leading axle with one of the trailing axle for each of the truck through a speed gear of 23 to 60 ratio. The 2 traction motors on the track are air-cooled, separate motor driven for the blower, one over each of the truck. The 4 traction motor of the unit are connected with the series parallel stating low speeds and in connection and in parallel 28.1 miles per hour, 28.1 miles per hour. Actual transition unless the restrictive position of the transition lever. The field shunting is provided to take place in serial parallel at 17 miles an hour and parallel at 49 miles an hour unless restricted position of the transition lever. Or your contractor compartment. A contractor compartment on each of the units is mounted with the main generator engine of the end of the engine room. On A unit, the compartment performs the part of the bulkhead between the engine room and the operating cab. The compartment contains the apparatus for the main auxiliary power control with the mounted on the cab side. A unit on the front of that part compartment in the B units. The manual containing with the thermal overload circuit breaker for the control auxiliary circuit. There are no fused locomotive electrical circuits. The thermal circuit breaker performing this function following the air contracting compartment. Your main power contactors are air operated through magnet valve. The 2 series contactors marked SN1 and S21. 4 parallel contactors P1, P2, P21, P22. Field shunting cam controller. A multiple contact motor driven cam switch which connects the field shunting resistors across the traction motor field in 17 graduated steps to shunting the field operation. Reverser, a rotary drum switch air operated through the magnet valve. Each of the starting contactor gauge is marked GS1, GS2, use the crank of the engine of the battery close with the start switch, the turn to start position, isolation switch to the idle position. Your general field contactor marked GF, the close with the control circuit breaker closed the engine man position throttle lever the notches number 1 through number 10, inclusive to provide excitation for the main generator field opens during transition to reduce generator output. Fuel pump contactor marked FPC closed with the fuel pump switch closed engine control panel fuel pump circuit breaker is closed with the engine man's position furnace battery to the operator fuel pump the crankcase exhauster excitation motor generator set. Battery contactor, marked B, closed with the auxiliary generator, the voltage and highly enough to charge the battery, reverse current relay, marked RC controls operation of the battery current contactor to prevent the battery from discharging through the auxiliary generator. Voltage regulator regulates the voltage of the auxiliary generator at 74 volts through the operating speed range of the engine. Relay panel, the glass cover that contains a sequence relays marked AFV and CFV for the current limit adjusting resistors. Exciter field relay marked EF closed with the throttle lever and is notches 1 through 8 inclusive. Alright, ground relay marked GR reduce the engine speed to the idle power circuit breaker with the manual reset button with the sealed hand operated with the knife cutout switch for the use of the emergency separately mounted with the contractor compartment transfer relay marked TR closed with the transition when operating with a parallel connection of the motors. Wheel slip relays marked WS1, WS2 compared with the voltage of the 2 and 3 and 1 and 4 traction motors alternately respectively in speed. Those voltages are different. Operating alarm buzzers light and 10 for the reduced speed idle speed engine speed. Blower stop ready with the marked BLR operates the low blower generator voltage sounding alarm lighting sounds. Time delay relays are marked TDR. Braking relays marked BR1, BR2, BWR not used. Various capacitors, rectifiers, and resistors. Field shunting contract control panel contains time delay relay marked AR, cam switch motor, auxiliary contract control relays marked CSU and CSD, current limiting shutdown control relays marked SCU and SCD, time delay capacitor marked SCC, cam shift switch notification relay marked IP1. Excitation panel contains a static regulator with the excitation control main generator consisting of the transformer, rectifiers, reactors, and resistors. Your motor cutout switch manually operated to cut out either the 2 and 3 or 1 or 4 motors in case of the grounds. For either reason, the unit may be operated without precaution. The low of the pair of the motors, the cutout with the compensation is automatic. Miscellaneous. In the contractor compartment, low diameter shunt, the number 1 motor circuit, the resistor field shunting, the resistor varies. Speed relay panel. The speed relay panel transition located on the inside of the control stand of the A unit, separate the cabinet on the right side of the B unit near the steam generator. The panel contains the following relay associated with the rectifiers, capacitor, reactors, resistors. Marked LS1 and CR1 for the first transit 1 and 2 transition, LS2 and CR2 for the 2 and 3 transition, LS3 and CR3 for the transition 3 and 4. On A units, but this panel contains the overspeed warning relay marked LS4 operates at 99 miles an hour. Overspeed relay marks the LOS operates at 104 miles an hour. Dead man relay and marked DMR. Your circuit breaker panel. The panel is mounted with the front of the contractor compartment containing the following thermal overload circuit. The control negative 150 amps, control positive 150 amps, auxiliary generator 250 amps, 2 auxiliary generator field 15 amps, crank exhauster 15 amps, motor generator 70 amp set, and generator set 70 amps, field pump set 70 amp, 35 amps, cab lights auxiliary 15 amps, engine room lights 15 amps, A unit size, headlight 15 amps, blower generator 200 amps, blower generator field 15 amps, steam generator negative 100 amps, steam generator positive 100 amps. This panel also contains a battery charger and indicator compartment light switch. The engine control stand. The following switches of the circuit breaker with the rheostat control for the indicating the lights are mounted at the engine man's position. Control circuit breaker, the 15 amp complete for the multiple unit the control circuit for the throttle control. Emergency engine stop, the engine start circuit for the alarm bells light. The fuel pump circuit breaker, the 15 amp complete for the multiple unit control circuit for the fuel pump with the contactor for each unit. Generator field circuit breaker, the 15 amp completes the multiple control through the throttle and transition lever, the circuit for the field shunting control, the reverse circuit through the throttle circuits, to the exciter field relay, emergency engine stop, push button, headlight switch, number light switch, marker light switch, hood light switch, dome light switch, gauge light, resetter, cab heater control rheostat, defroster control rheostat, indication lights, hot engine, lube oil, low lube oil pressure, boiler flame out, wheel slip, locomotive overspeed, engine control panel. This panel is located at the right right side of the wall unit near the diesel engine containing the following indicators: control engine speed indicator, lubricating oil pressure gauge, wheel oil pressure gauge, turbo supercharger rocker arm oil pressure gauge, turbo supercharger air pressure gauge, engine water temperature gauge, indication lights, ground relay tripped with the blow stopped white, boiler flame oil out white, lube low lube oil pressure green, hot engine red, and crank exhauster running amber. Your isolation switch is 6-position dial switch with the stopping the isolation limitation maximum speed of the engine positions marked off, idle 2, 4, 6, and run. Engine start switch with the crank engine, fuel pump switch controlling the fuel pump crankcase, exhauster, and motor generator set, panel light switch, radiator fan control switch selecting the manual and automatic operation of radiator fans. Manually radiator fan control with the dial rheostat with the controlling radiator fan speed with the manual operated with the main battery switch, manually operated switch located below the engine control panel with the isolating the battery. The following apparatus is located with the engine control panel. The sequence relay is marked AVS, BVS, CVS, DVS. Engine stop relay ESR, oil pressure current relay marked OPR, safety relay valve SAR, signal relay SR, engine temperature switch ETS, governor oil pressure switch, GOP lubricating oil pressure switch OPS1 and OPS2, radiator fan control relay, governor rectifiers and capacitors, miscellaneous resistors and speed adjustment, governor operation load control. Excitation system provided with this class of locomotive with the furnace, the excitation current with the shield field with the main generator through the amplifying exciter regulated with the following are limited: 1. Diesel engine power. 2. The general loaded current. 3. The general field current. The diesel engine power is determined with the diesel engine governed at the various position with the throttle lever through connection with the governor to the accelerator field located on the main generator. Limited available to diesel engine power for each for the throttle level position. Generally, load concurrent and field current with our limited means with the static regulator, but they actually automatically increase with the degree for the control field current rigs exciter maintained with the control output of the main generator and throttle lever position. The power of the excitation control system furnished by the 400 cycle with the motor-driven alternator located with the nose A unit on the left side near the front with the B unit, the output with the alternator U with the transformer rectifiers to supply excitation with the exciter control field through separate transformer windings to supply the power of the static regulator. Pneumatic control switch deadband relay. The pneumatic control switch with the air operated switch mounted with the nose of the A unit. The switch is tripped and safely with the control operating with the air brakes. The deadman locomotive overspeed by the emergency brake application. The switch is tripped and operates the deadman relay. Or to reduce the speed with the diesel engine is idle to remove the power with the traction motor. To reset the switch relay with the throttle lever must be returned. The idle brake pressure must be restored. Alright, compressed air system. The diesel engine on each of the unit with locomotive drive the direct connected with the two-stage 3-cylinder air compressor with the compressor that is as its own oil pump pressure lubricating system oil level. The crankcase can be checked with the bayonet type of gauge interkiller in between the two stages of the 250-pound safety valves. Alright, main reserve pressure is controlled by the electrically actuated governor set with the 125-pound pressure for the cutout and 140-pound pressure for the main reserve and protected with against excessive pressure by a 165-pound safety valve with the discharge pipe with the air compressor and a 150 safety valve located with the piping adjacent with the main reserve. Drains are located on the intercooler filter on each of the main reserve means by which the condensation may be drained from the site system. Air or something with the control reservoir for the strainer check with reducing valve is set. The 70 pounds control air is used to operate the reverse main control power contactors. Control air with pressure gauge located with the nose A unit on the left side of the front side B unit. Main reserve pressure is used for the operation air brake of the system, radiator shutters, windshield wipers, the horn, bell, sanders, the steam generator, water supply tank, fuel supply. Tank gauges air operated through separate reducing valves. The air brake system. The class locomotive uses the type 24RL air brake equipment with the K2A rotary valve on the A units. Each of the two trucks under each of the unit is equipped with a 4 brake cylinder, the 4 side van of the cutout cocks, each of which the cutout releases the 1 brake cylinder on each side of the truck after located on the right side of each unit. Locomotive operation, inspection, preparation for the service. After the locomotive has been properly inspected, the circuit breaker panel on each of the units, all the circuit breakers are closed. The engine man position control unit, see the throttle is in idle position, maintain the transition lever in the off position, select the reverser lever in the off position, and then use the control panel and the fuel pump, close the air control and fuel pump circuit breakers. At the engine position, trailing cab, see the throttle lever in the idle position, see the transition lever is in the off position, see that the reverse lever is removed. See the control fuel pump generator field circuit breaker is open at each of the diesel engine control panels, see that the battery is switched and closed. Close the fuel pump switch and note that at least 30 pounds of the pressure is indicated by the fuel oil pressure gauge. Place the isolation switch in idle position. Alarm should be sound. Lube oil pressure light should be lightweight. The approximate 10 seconds for the engine gear governors reset. Send the engine start with the start position. Hold the unit until engine fire lubricating oil pressure gauge shows the pressure. Alarm stop with the lube oil pressure light goes out. He placed the isolation switch in running position, pausing several seconds in intermediate position. Check the proper lubrication oil pressure. Obtain 5 at the circuit breaker panel of each of the unit. Check the battery charge indicator to see that indicate the charge of the battery, and open the crankcase exhaustor circuit breaker. Check the lubrication oil level of the crankcase of the diesel engine with the engine idling. B. Close the crankcase exhaustor circuit breaker. Move the locomotive in the road operation. Move the locomotive to close the red generator field circuit breaker. Place the foot on the dead man pedal. Release the air brakes. And place the reverser and forward of reverse position on the as required. Place the transition lever in the position desired. Due to the mechanical interlocking reverse lever can be removed only with the transition lever off in the number 1 position, so that the shifting movements of the transition lever should not be advanced beyond the number 1 position. For normal road operation, transition lever should be placed in number 4 position, thus permitting the full application of the transition to occur. 5. Move the throttle in position required to start the locomotive of the train, pausing each from the position and starting the heavy train of the carrier must be exercised to properly control the slack action before accelerating. Alright, using the load ammeter, the accelerating of the train, the standard start on low speed at the point of the load ammeter may swing the red zone button to return to the left as speed increases. The throttle lever, the 8-notch position, maximum continuous permissible amperes of 900 amperes are indicated at the end of the white zone. Operation of the red zone indicates a heavy overload. Normally, using the starting acceleration train should be limited to approximately 4 minutes of operating with the yellow zone is permissible for the consecutively accumulated time not exceeding 90 minutes. Operating without load animated, with the throttle in the 8-knot position, the maximum minimum continuous speed is 23 miles an hour. Operation speed below 23 miles an hour is permissible under any one of the following limitations: with the throttle lever in the 8-knot position, 18 miles an hour in 90 minutes, 15 miles an hour in 10 minutes, and 12 miles an hour in 4 minutes. Isolating a diesel engine. If necessary to isolate a diesel engine, place the isolation switch in the idle position. The diesel engine is running above the idle speed due to the throttle being open. Move the isolation switch from run to idle position, pausing it in intermediate positions until the diesel engine speed is off level. Or putting a diesel engine online. If necessary to put a diesel engine online, move the isolation switch to the run position, pausing several seconds in the intermediate position. If the throttle is open, pause in each position until the diesel engine speed level off before moving the next position. Diesel engine speed limited regardless of the throttle lever position. Having isolation switch on one of the intermediate positions, that if the switch is number 2 position, diesel engine will not run faster than the speeds corresponding to the number 2 position of the throttle lever, and even the throttle lever that is moved into the higher notch position. Cutting out the fuel injection pump. Each fuel injection pump may be cut individually by pushing out into the fuel pump rack, flipping the latch located on the right of each of the injection pumps into position, holding the fuel rack. No more than 2 injection pumps on each side should be cut at any one time. If cutting out injection pumps causes excessive vibration, the engine should be shut down. Emergency engine stop. Stopping all the diesel engine emergency is accomplished by pushing the emergency engine stop push button on the control stand. The control and operation of emergency engine stop depends on the controlling circuit breaker on the control stand being closed position. Alright, ground relay trip blower stop indicated the ground relay trip the traction motor blower stops. The alarm will sound. Ground relay trip the blower stop. The indicating light will the unit involved will light. An alarm due to the blow fuel failure insulating engine involved with the track blower generator field circuits and the reset necessary. Under no condition should the unit be operated under load with the blowers inoperative. If the alarm is due to the ground relay trip, the diesel engine speed will reduce the idle power with the remove of the traction motor of the unit. If the ground relay fails to remain reset with the traction motor cutout switch located in the contractor compartment may be operated. If cutting out one pair of the traction motor removed the ground fault, diesel engine may be continued to operation with the circuit cut out. Low lubricating oil warning. The fuel lubricating oil pressure drops 20 pounds with the throttle up in the fifth notch position. Above the alarm will sound low level oil lube indicating light will light on the control stand and engine control panel with the diesel engine involved with the diesel engine speed will reduce to idle. If lubricating oil pressure drops 70 pounds with the throttle up in the notch position, alarm will sound. The indicating lights will light diesel engine on the units involved with the shutdown. Check the lubricating oil level, then crankcase of the diesel engine, examining external piping lubrication oil system leaks, and before restoring the diesel engine service. Hot engine warning indication. Hot cooling water temperature will cause the operation of the hot engine warning. Check the temperature indicated on each of the diesel engine control panel to determine the engine for the causing the warning operation. So the system contains sufficient water, but the fans operating with the shutter of the open operator shutters manually necessary to control the temperature. Setting dial engine with the control panel with the fan control the manual position. Note, when attempting to start the diesel engine, if no oil is pressure is obtained, see that the fuel transfer pipe is running, and if not, check for the following circuit breakers. Open the circuit breaker panel, the control positive, control negative, fuel pump at the engine control stand, fuel pump. If the transfer pump is running, check the fuel supply, emergency fuel cutoff valve, fuel oil section line to pump for leaks. Turn the handle for the duplex oil filter to opposite direction. And 2, if the diesel engine does not rotate when the engine start switch is closed, see the isolation switch in the idle position, check the control circuit breaker for the engine control stand. Check the engine starting contactor GS1 and GS2. Or if the diesel engine rotates but does not fire with the preserve, the fuel rack for the injection pump come out. If not released for the engine start switch, place the isolation switch in the out position. Check the governing oil supply overspeed switch. Place the isolation switch in idle position. Wait about 10 seconds for the governor to reset. Then place the engine start with the start position. 4, if the locomotive fails to move the diesel engine running with the throttle open, the following checks should be made. See if the reverse lever is in proper position. See if the brakes are released. See if the transition lever is in the running position. See if the generator field circuit breaker on the control stand is closed. See the isolation switcher in the running position. Check the control reserve air pressure 5. A locomotive moved one or several units. The failure to deliver the power. The following checks should be made. See the isolation switch are proper position. Check the control reserve pressure of each of the unit. See the starting contractors open. Check the circuit breaker on the circuit breaker panel on each of the unit. 6, when changing operating ends with the fuel pump circuit breaker with the control stand at the end of the being with the cutout may be left closed until the fuel pump circuit breaker on the control stand end of the unit being cut is closed, on all the diesel engine will stop. So when low battery condition exists, leading AU, the auxiliary generator inoperable, the locomotive can be controlled with the operating cab of the units as follows. Open control fuel pump circuit breaker circuit at the control stand leading AU unit. Close the control fuel pump circuit breakers at the controlling stand of the trailing unit. Close the generator field circuit breaker on the control stand of the leading unit A. D. Close the locomotive overspeed cutout cock leading to A unit to prevent the undesired operation. If necessary to have the headlight with the following additional steps must be taken. Open all the circuit breakers. Open circuit breaker panel with leading A unit except for the headlight engine room with the light circuit breaker. Open the cab signal MG set with the circuit breaker with the close the headlight emergency switch to the battery position in the nose leading A unit. Alright, diesel electric road operation section 6 class Baldwin locomotives passenger 3 unit freight locomotives.